still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding it's a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome in. This is FST. It's Fantasy Sports Today. My name's Matt Stryker. His name's Joe Pisapia, and this is the place for those that want to dominate. Whether it be season-long fantasy, DFS, straight-up wagering, we've got you covered. We want to say what's up to everybody out there at SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. Those are our social media handles. Make sure you're following along. We've got TD Jake and Sam Y, the sports guy behind the glass, part of this great SportsGrid family. Joey P, come on in. You, my friend, are the man. We were talking football earlier. We're talking a little baseball now. It's a big day for Game 7s in the NBA and the NHL. What's up with you, my friend?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about basketball again, which is a lot for me because as a youth, I was very into basketball. And I mean, we're talking like I'd watch the Sunday afternoon doubleheader, you know, which I didn't realize until recently that's a John Tesh number, that whole reel about him.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch that reel where he's like showing about he made it like the bouncing of the basketball? I've probably watched that thing a million times, and I don't know, I just can't get enough of it, but it's awesome. But that era of the NBA was special. You know, you had stars on every team, basically, right? I call it the NBA Jam theory of the NBA, which is when you played NBA Jam, you always had two guys on every team that you were excited about having, right? It was like, oh, I got Derek Coleman and Drazen Petrovic. I got, you know, Akeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler on this team. I've got, you know, Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen. You got two guys on every team, Anthony Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal, right? All over the place. And then all of a sudden we had that consolidation in the NBA of stars where like all the stars were on four teams and like it just, it was like foregone conclusions. I feel like things are kind of opening up a little bit for the NBA. It's a really interesting time, and the Knicks being good is fun. I'm not a Knicks fan, but I'm happy for all of my many Knicks fan friends that they're having a little bit of joy in their life. The Knicks are good. The Mets are good, Matt. I almost don't know, you know, what to do with myself. It's kind of weird.
Well, I've got to ask then. You mentioned you're a basketball fan. I understand you're born, raised in Brooklyn, now a Jerseyite. What is your basketball team, Joe?
I never latched on to an official basketball team. I just didn't. But again, because I would watch the Barkley Sixers and then eventually the Barkley Suns teams with Dan Marley and KJ and all those guys. And I just enjoyed them. I was a fan of Michael Jordan, right? I mean, how could you not be? I mean, the guy was unbelievable. Knicks, Bulls, Pistons Bulls. Like those series were unbelievable, right? And as a kid, watching the Lakers and the Celtics and Larry Bird, Magic Johnson going at it with an aging Kareem, like those were amazing things to watch. And there was an edge to basketball. It wasn't just shooting 3-pointers all the time. I feel like that's where we are right now.
The games had some personal elements to them, and as a fan, as a child, you were able to love the game, and that's the most important thing, and understand the game, and then dive in to the personal storylines, if you will. And it's all great stuff, and Game 7 is going to be fantastic, and there'll be great coverage here, wall to wall on this network with some of the most passionate and knowledgeable hosts that you'll find anywhere. Joe, let's switch our attention now to baseball and talk about 3 up, 3 down, 3 players that are playing well, 3 players that are not playing so well. Let's go out to San Francisco. The Giants, take a look at the standings, man. Nobody thought that anyone would challenge the Dodgers, and meanwhile, 4 out of the 5 teams in that division are right there. Giants are in the thick of it, Joe, and it's because of one young man. Well,
Helio Ramos. Well, look, it's because of Logan Webb and a couple other guys, but Helio Ramos has been terrific. Look at the last 7 days for him. He's had a really good season, too. He's stealing bases. He's hitting for power. Last 7 days, 2 homers, 8 ribbies, scored 3 runs. The OEP's over 500. The slugging's over 900. The OPS is over 1,500. I mean, just an incredible run for Helio Ramos. He's been great. Also great. And trying to, again, hold together this Cleveland Guardians team is Jose Ramirez. Last 7 days for him, 3 homers, Friday to Friday. It's always him. Just can you get this man some help, please? Just a side dish, some more help. Not Carlos Santana, who's 110 years old. Like, I know they're going to get Shane Bieber back eventually in this rotation, and I kind of want to see what he looks like, because that could be a big difference maker here if Bieber is right. But so far, returning Tommy John guys hasn't really worked out this year in 2025, just saying. But Ramirez hitting over 450, 950 slugging, a 1,400 OPS over that span. He's carrying this offense. He's carrying this team. It's what he does every year. I wish he would get more MVP attention, but kind of like Michael Jordan, his run, like this is the Aaron Judge run, where he's just putting up these gangbuster video game numbers, and Jose Ramirez can, steal 40 bases and hit 35 home runs, and nobody cares because he's not doing it in New York. And that sucks, because you can argue in a lot of ways, especially last year, the Yankees still had Juan Soto. Who did the Cleveland Guardians have? They had Jose Ramirez. That's it.
Stephen Kwan, little Lane Thomas, but I get what you're saying. And from a wagering perspective, well, listen, you can put bat to ball, and Andres Jimenez as well. They had him as well. But here's the thing. When you see these type of players having these streaks, you know that the book is going to adjust the price for them, or in your fantasy league, someone's probably going to have them rostered. But look to the player that's hitting before this player. That player is going to see a lot better pitches, because they don't want that player to be on for a hot Helio Ramos, for a hot Jose Ramirez. And also think about the player hitting directly after, because the pitcher is still sometimes going to be thinking about what the Ramirez's and the Ramoses of the world just did, and sometimes could leave something fat out over the plate. All right, speaking of pitchers, Hunter Brown. I mean, if the Astros want to be in it, they need Hunter Brown to really continue to do what he's doing. Can he maintain a sub-1 ERA, Joe?
No, but he is top 5 in every pitching category in the American League right now. And we mentioned earlier, we were talking about Hunter Brown being one of the best discounts you could find. He was SP 32 in drafts. He was going behind Roki Sasaki, behind Tanner Bybee. He was going behind Bailey Ober and a bunch of guys who are already on the IL, right? Like just right now, if you look, there's a run there from SP 16 to SP 22. Imanaga, Nola, Bryce Miller, Tyler Glasnow, George Kirby, Hunter Green, all on the IL, even Roki Sasaki ahead of him. So Hunter Brown's been healthy. He's been great. Incredible pitcher's duel who's on the wrong end of, unfortunately. But look at the last 2 starts for him. A .66 ERA, 18 strikeouts, 4 walks. Again, he is holding this team together. Yordan Alvarez is out with an injury. Altuve has not hit. Cam Smith hasn't been what we were hoped he might be. They're struggling. The Astros are struggling to find out who they are without Bregman, without Kyle Tucker. And I think right now they are Framber Valdez and they are Hunter Brown, and they need some more help. Now, hopefully you get Altuve hitting, and hopefully you get some other contributors and a healthy Alvarez. But if you don't, this might be that transition year where the Astros finally kind of take a back seat in October and are watching from the outside looking in. They've been that team that flips the switch every year. We talked about it last year, invest in the Astros because they're going to flip that switch in midseason, and they did. I just don't know if they've got that flip in them this year, because I just don't know if they have the same personnel that we're used to seeing that knew how to win.
Yeah, no, it's 100% a good point, especially from the top, too, at the managerial helm. All right, let's keep our focus on pitching, but go to the 3 down now. Aaron Nola just hit the IL with an ankle issue, but he hasn't been pitching well the last week. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing at the way you said ankle as if it were in air quotes, an ankle injury. His ankle is hurt. Look, he pitched in the rain this week. He had made a really good start 2 weeks ago. It looked like things were turning around. Then he had a weird start in the rain. Now this ankle injury. I'm still buying on Aaron Nola. All the expected numbers are still less. He's a guy that makes 30 starts a year. It's not an arm issue. Buy Aaron Nola. And we'll talk more about that a little later on the show. Christian Campbell has had a rough go last 7 days. He's hitting under 100. His OBP is 125 hanging into this weekend's action. I know yesterday was a little better, but OPS at 342. And he has said, quote, I'll play first base, right? Because he doesn't want to get sent down. Now, if Christian Campbell goes to first base, Trevor Story slides from short to second, and you will get Marcelo Mayer. So pick him up this week if he is still available. He has been tremendous. If that is the remedy to the situation, we'll see. But he's already working out there, so that could be a problem, I should say a solution to the problem at first base for the Red Sox. And then lastly, Matt Olson, 143 batting average over the last week, 11 strikeouts, an OPS under 500. I would still buy Matt Olson, but, a couple years ago, he had that incredible breakout season where he scratched 50 home runs. And ever since, it's been a little struggle bus. I think Matt Olson needs to get back in the laboratory and figure out what's going on. And maybe, just maybe, returning Ronald Acuna could also help. When we come back, I'll look at some 2-star pitchers in Major League Baseball next week.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today, where the debate rages on. Of course, along this entire great network, you get everything that you want. You want rage? We have that. You want mellow? We have that as well. At SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV, follow along the conversation. Use the hashtag Matt and Joe. Who's better? LeBron or Jordan? Settle it for us now, because in our ears, our producers are just rattling back and forth. Joe and I having conversations. Of course, a game 7 today, OKC and Denver, but just bringing back basketball. We're going to talk baseball. But yeah, man, I think let's get that hashtag going. Hashtag Matt and Joe. And it's who's better, LeBron or Jordan. Joe, now
I can make a case that LeBron, but I can make a case LeBron is not even top 5. And I know that's going to make people upset. There's 4 guys that I can make an argument. Well, I think the case is guys like, that's fine, or objectively wrong from people in their 20s who never saw anybody else play basketball. So I don't really care about that. But it's Larry Bird, it's Magic Johnson, it's Wilt Chamberlain, it's Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, even Kobe Bryant and Bill Russell and Shaquille O'Neal. You want to talk about dominating? Shaquille O'Neal still dominated. You know, I just look. LeBron is a great player. He's an all-time great player. But to anoint him as if like he's this impossible god of basketball in an era where it was softer than ever, where it was a bunch of super teams and he only had to beat a couple teams. The gauntlet you had to run in the 80s and 90s in the NBA was stunning. It doesn't exist anymore. It's getting better. But bro.
No, I'm with you. Bro.
First right. Bro.
Bro. Let's move on to something upon which we can all agree, and it's the importance of the 2-start pitcher, especially as we come to the Memorial Day flagpole for the season-long fantasy player, but also for the wagerer and the DFS player as well. These players are still human beings, and as the season goes on, they change as well. So let's attack some 2-start pitchers here. We start with Tampa. Taj Bradley just went for them, and they seem to right the ship there. But Ryan Pipio has Houston and Framber Valdez, and he has Toronto and Chris Bassett. I mean, that's a tough task. For me, I'd be off of this. But Joe, I want to hear from you.
I think if I need some help this week, I'm willing to roll the dice. Pepio in his last couple starts has been really solid, and I know it's been a little up and down for him this year, but if you look at the last 5 starts for Pepio, he's got 3.18 ERA, 21 strikeouts, 8 walks. He has righted the ship after some weird outings earlier in the year. And going into the season, I always pay attention to a couple people when they break down pitchers. Eno Saris is one of them. And one of Eno's favorite guys going into this year was Ryan Pepio. So, of course, I drafted him everywhere because he made a lot of good reasoning behind why he was so in on Pepio. And I think even though you didn't see it right away, you're starting to see it now. And I think there were 2 camps. It was the Boz camp and the Pepio camp. And I was in the Pepio camp. And the Boz camp right now is really frustrated. And Pepio seems like he is making some strides. Now, don't be shocked if you don't see Ian Seymour coming up soon, too. He's leading the AAA in strikeouts right now. He has been red hot. He's been so good. So maybe you get to see him at some point here for the Rays. But in the meantime, I would take a shot here. And the reason is that Houston lineup is weak right now. No Alvarez. Altuve is not very good. Christian Walker continues to Christian Walker himself. I don't know what's going on there. He started to show some signs of life, and then he kind of took a nosedive again. So this lineup is just not as formidable as it usually is. So I think that's why I'm willing to kind of go against the grain here with Pepio for 2 starts.
I don't know, man. I think Framber can shut you down, and Bassett's been really good as a Bassett manager. Maybe that's just where my preference lies, whatever the word is. All right, let's go to Boston now. Brian Bayo has Kodai Senga and the Mets, and then Dean Kremer and the Orioles. And we can make all the Dean Kremer jokes we want, but the Orioles are a new regime now. So does that change your thought at all?
No, this is not the NFL where you get that dead coach bounce, because that happens. That's a real thing. The dead coach bounce in the NFL is real. I bet it all the time, and 70% of the time, very happy man when that happens. But Kodai Senga has been terrific this year. I know the ERA is not going to hold there. I know the walks have been a little higher than you want, but that Mets offense has been really good, and Bayo still working his way back. And I think when you have to deal with that Baltimore lineup, it's still formidable, even though it hasn't lived up to expectations. So for me, Bayo's a pass. Matt, how about you?
I just want to clarify here. These are all so far been home starts, just so everyone can know here. Bayo against the Mets would make me nervous with Bayo against Kremer, where I would be on it. So it would depend on what I would need. But it's one of these things on these 2-start pitchers. You're going to have to make a decision. If you like one start but not the other, you're going to have to see and weigh it. So yeah, sure, if you need something, just because Boston is one of those higher echelon teams. Let's move to Gunnar Hoglund here, a pitcher that you've been talking up for the past few weeks. If you're unfamiliar, he's a starting pitcher for the Athletics, and he will be home to Jose Soriano and the Angels, and then home to Jesus Luzardo and the Phillies. Now, the Philly lineup scares me, but Hoglund's been good. That ballpark is interesting, but the Athletics are fun. I would take Hoglund just to be in on some fun late night stuff. Joe, what about you?
Some fun late night stuff with Doug Hoglund, with Gunnar Hoglund, right? Like that's what you want. Oh man, that show did not last very long. It's a shame. CBS just never supported it. But Gunnar Hoglund is, I think, a pitcher of note. We talked about him on the show, and we talked about him before he got called up, and we were saying, stash this guy. This is what you want to be. But at the same time, I think you take last week's start against the Dodgers and you throw it out the window. I think Gunnar Hoglund is a really good young pitcher. And against the Angels, I'll take my shot. The Phillies is going to be a rougher start, but I think I'm intrigued enough about the Angels to start him regardless. And it's the first time around the league for him too, so he has that advantage. It's not going to be an advantage against the Dodgers, and it might not be an advantage against the Phillies lineup too. Schwarber has been incredible this year. He's still got Bryce Harper and Trey Turner. It's a very formidable lineup, but I would take my shot there. Again, 2 home starts for him. For the kid, I would throw the kid out there. I think Gunnar Hoglund's worth a look.
All right, throw the kid out. Don't do it, parents. Keep them. All right, and last but not least, the Milwaukee Brewers have a plethora of pitching prospects. Alliteration aside, Quinn Priester goes. He has Dean Kremer, who's also a 2-start pitcher this week, at home against Baltimore, and then on the road at Mitch Keller and the Pittsburgh Pirates. Of note, O'Neill Cruz back in the lineup, and Brian Reynolds, also a guy that's starting to get hot. Joe, Quinn Priester, yay or nay?
Hard pass. I don't even know how he's still in the rotation. He's got a 4.5 ERA. His whip is at 1.56. He's got a strikeout per 9 of 6.2 and a walk rate of 5.7 walks per 9. Ew, gross. This guy is a gas can. He's going to light your rotation on fire. Don't do it. Friends don't let friends. Start Quinn Priester. We come back. A look ahead. Who's been dropped? Man, could you pick him up? We'll tell you.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back into FST. It's Fantasy Sports today. Matt and Joe with you here. And I got to tell you, it's important to like the people with whom you work. If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I want to credit this place, SportsGrid, for hiring good people. our TD Jake's a good guy. We're having real conversations. I don't have these normal conversations in my daily life, but I have real conversations about sports and things like that. Joe, you're an author, you're a parent, you're a coach. It's important to have real discourse with people with whom you genuinely respect. And I'm going to get off my soapbox, but I think that's something that's missing in today's day and age. If you have the respect and appreciation of the person with whom you're speaking, and you can appreciate their opinion, agree to disagree, but you have to like these people. All right, people that are not liked are these two players here. They're the most dropped in Major League Baseball currently.
What a transition.
Joe,
So
take
good.
it from there.
Yeah, Kobe Mayo, one of the most dropped guys. He got another cup of coffee, and 4 games, 6 strikeouts later, and a 0.83 batting average was set back down to the minor leagues. Wah, wah, wah. And look, at AAA, Kobe Mayo is pouting, period. He's got 6 homers and 23 RBI, but his OPS is 782, his batting average is 218. So one of two things are happening. He's either pouting, miserable, doesn't want to be in this organization anymore, A. B, he's not a good baseball player. I don't think it's B. I think if anybody needs a fresh start, it's Kobe Mayo. So I think he's intriguing still from a dynasty perspective. This is the best time to buy low. He's 23 years old. I want to write him off. Now, I had some questions about Kobe Mayo. The strikeout rate is a little high for me. He does have big-time power. But I think in the right circumstance with the right coaching and environment around him, he could be a very good fantasy baseball asset. I don't think it's going to be in Baltimore. And if he becomes a failure and then Westbrook becomes a failure and then all of a sudden we're talking about the Baltimore Orioles, like, oh, wasn't that fun? Remember when the Orioles were good for a hot minute and they were the future of baseball? Now you fired your manager. Grayson Rodriguez doesn't look like he's going to pitch much this year, if at all. All of a sudden, man, the bloom is off this rose for the Baltimore Orioles, and it is a bad situation here. So in Dynasty, it's a buy low, but yeah, Kobe Mayo, you drop, you move on. And not only that, but like, I don't think redraft is going to be anywhere close to interesting. We're talking about so many other guys worthy of stashing. We mentioned Matt Shaw before, just as one of the many. Yeah. We're going to come back through that minor league system and back to the major league. So Kobe Mayo, it's done for 2025.
Joe, what would it mean to the thought process in fantasy sports and in wagering if this Orioles group ended up like, remember that Met pitching staff for a while? I think that Bill Pulsifer and a few other
Generation K
prospects that never panned out. What would that mean if this Orioles group, in retrospect, doesn't pan out? How will we look at these type of teams in the future? Quickly.
It was very painful because I had to get the Generation K tattoo removed. I was so excited as a 10-year-old, I had to but yeah, it was Paul Wilson, Jason Isringhausen,
and Pulsifer.
Those were the 3 guys. Yeah, Bill Pulsifer. And Isringhausen ended up having a pretty good career as a closer, but yep, it just never worked out. Yeah, it's going to be that kind of bad scenario. Also bad and getting dropped, Luis Severino in a lot of leagues. I don't know if I quite want to do this yet. In deeper leagues especially, I'd rather hold on to him, but I get it. If there's pitching out there on the waiver wire, if Logan Henderson's out there, I think I'd rather have him because I think Henderson's going to keep making starts. I just did 5 minutes on Quinn Priester in the last segment of why he shouldn't be a major league pitcher, but I think talent wins out over a period of time. But Severino, look, they are invested in him financially, so he's going to stay in their rotation. So I would still keep looking. By the way, I found a fun thing here. Again, our producers don't have microphones. So this is fun. I found a fun thing here. Championships, Michael Jordan 6, LeBron 4, obviously less years played. Finals MVPs 6, so all 6. LeBron did win MVP in all 4 of his, but again, only 4. Scoring titles, 10 scoring titles. Scoring titles for LeBron 1. 10 in the toughest period of the NBA where defense mattered to 1. Defensive Player of the Year, 1. NBA All-Star teams. Now, again, he made 20 because he plays every year and everybody wants to see LeBron. All-Star appearances for Jordan, 14. Also 3 points higher points per game over LeBron James. So I don't know what we're doing here. I don't know where this conversation goes.
I want to bring forward what our TD Jake, who's the resident youngster of our show here, was bringing up his criteria for greatness. And it was the peaks and how long those peaks were for which they were sustained and the amount of time the player played. And I get that. LeBron played for, I'm making it up, 20, and Jordan played for 10. Jordan still outpaces LeBron, according to what Joe is saying.
Look, Jordan could have played longer, and remember, he missed some time in between there, too. But again, to be the best when the league was at its best and most formidable, I think matters a lot more. That's all. So I'm going to let these 10 seconds drift off while everybody remembers Michael Jordan and number 23. We come back, we're going to take a look at making some deals when we return on FST.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST Fantasy Sports today. Matt and Joe with you here at SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. That's our social media handle. You're using the hashtag Matt and Joe. This conversation has taken off. It's who's better, LeBron or Michael Jordan. Now, I know I said before the break, I was saying I was making it up. Jordan played 10 years and LeBron played 20. Okay, so Jordan played 15 seasons and LeBron played 22 seasons, and we're trying to just compare these numbers and try to whittle it down to where the argument bifurcates, right? Where does this argument kind of diverge? And for me, it's defense. And it comes down to the fact that in the era and the defensive statistics for Michael Jordan put Michael Jordan head and shoulders above his peers, and that includes LeBron James. Of course, we want to hear from you at SportsGrid TV. Joe, we're going to hear from you, and then we'll get to buy low, sell high.
What's the best period of Major League Baseball in your opinion? Just out of curiosity. Is it now?
Isn't the nostalgia? I'm a kid. No.
But
I think the best period of Major League Baseball,
right?
Talent level is now. Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. And everything in the world, it's now.
I don't have a
the least
problem
intelligent
saying,
generation in the last 100 years.
Well, talent level, but also the I think the difficulty of the game, right? The baseball people are throwing harder, hitting harder.
Yes.
The athletes are better, they're faster. Like all that. This is peak baseball.
Drop Babe Ruth in today's era, like you say, and it wouldn't be as successful. Drop Shohei and Babes, and it would be. Go ahead.
If you drop peak Michael Jordan into this league of the NBA right now, pro.
Kill everyone.
Pro.
The season. Wait, I'm sorry. What was that? Our producer just got in our ear and said Jordan can't shoot a three.
He used the words Michael Jordan can't. Okay, go ahead. Tell Michael Jordan can't do
something. Did he need shoot the three on that team? Please go look at the roster of Jordan's team. He had a 3-point shooter.
Steve Kerr was shooting threes on that team.
We're having a conversation with our producer, folks, and we're getting out of hand here. He's talking about today's game. You need to shoot 3-pointers. We feel that in today's game,
you can drive the hole every day because nobody stops you.
going for this defense. This conversation will go on at SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV, hashtag Matt and Joe. You want to throw TD Jake in the mix, you can as well. We'll find out his social media. Don't you worry. We're going to dox you, Jake. Joe, while we get on that, let's go buy low, sell high. Give me a couple of buy low candidates that managers can go after.
All right, let's talk about Brian Reynolds, because Brian Reynolds was the model of consistency the last couple of years. 2023, 24 homers, 12 steals, hit 263. 2024, last season, 24 home runs, 10 stolen bases, 275 batting average. Awesome. Like, that's great. You want to set your watch to Brian Reynolds. He's 30 years old. He's in his prime. What the hell is going on? He's hitting 202 right now with 6 homers, 3 steals, but his OPS is under 600 right now. And if you look at the Baseball Savant page, it's still really good. His expected batting average should be at 254. His expected slugging should be at 486. Those are all much more in line with his regular numbers. The barrel rate is good. The exit velo is good. The hard hit rate, everything is good. Bat speed. He's just lost right now. He is in a fog. He's in a haze, and this happens in baseball. It's a game of streaks, and he's just in a bad one. It's just in a bad situation. So I'm buying on Brian Reynolds. To me, he's one of the best, most consistent players out there. I know he hasn't been good this year, but man, I think Brian Reynolds is a great opportunity buy low here, because I think fantasy managers are scratching their heads going, what in the hell is going on with Brian Reynolds? And I don't think there's an answer, because everything on the deeper underlying metrics all screams that he's still Brian Reynolds. So just buy. It's been a weird year for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Hopefully it starts to get a little better, and who knows, maybe we'll get Bubba Chandler this week.
Yeah, right. Imagine that. When it comes to Brian Reynolds, I'm a big Brian Reynolds fan. I will always look at Brian Reynolds and then O'Neal Cruz. Always. And O'Neal Cruz was on the bench this entire week with a back issue, came off as a pinch hitter, I believe, on Friday or Saturday. So as Cruz goes, Reynolds can go as well. But to Joe's point, there's just a lot of woes in Pittsburgh, unfortunately, but hopefully they can turn it around. Let's go to a city that doesn't have any woes, and that is San Francisco. And we're looking at Willy Adames here. Came over from Milwaukee and now part of this Giants team that are competing in an NL West that should be dominated by the Dodgers, but it's not.
It's not. And Willy Adames, we said going into this year, was going to struggle a little bit. Right-handed power in San Francisco was not exactly the best fit. But at the same time, Willy Adames is not this bad of a player, and he has been bad this year. I mean, there's no way to put it. The OBP is at 302. That's never been his game. The slugging's at 363. Like, all those numbers are not great. But here's the irony, is that the problem is actually not at home. At home, he's hitting 264 with a 762 OPS. It's on the road that he's struggling with a 189 batting average and a 576 OPS. So this, to me, is why Willy Adames is a buy low candidate, because taking in the negative ballpark factor, I think if you're just looking at it, and I kind of fell into the same trap. I look at the stats and go, oh, well, there you go. San Francisco's hurting Willy Adames. No, it's not. I think it's the burden of the new big contract and trying to be the guy in a new environment. And I think players adjust to that. Christian Walker is having a hard time adjusting to that. Willy Adames is having a hard time adjusting to that. I think on the second half, he will adjust to it. And the fact that his numbers at home are not putrid is very encouraging. So I would buy. His Baseball Savant page is not as bright red as you look at Brian Reynolds. So I think Reynolds is a safer one, but Willy Adames right now is absolutely a buy. So I would go out there and make some trade offers for him.
All right, let's go to some barbecue now. Kansas City, a certain pitcher has just hit the IL with an injured right middle finger. It's just his right middle finger. Joe, could you show us what that injury might look like and where that injury could be?
On the radio show, I can. But even before this injury, and if Matt wants to say injury in air quotes again, I don't know. But maybe the injury is a reason for some of these numbers, because the strikeout rate went from 7.88 K per nine to just 6.67. That's a significant drop off. The walk rate's gone up from 2.09 to 2.38. That's a little bit of a tick up. But if you look at this ERA, look, last year the ERA was at 3. This year it's at 3.02. But the expected ERA last year was around 3.75. The FIP was at 3.25. You're like, okay, well, maybe a little bit of regression, but there's a lot of problems here in the deeper profile of Lugo. You're looking at an expected ERA of 4.78, not 3 for Lugo this year. A 4.53 whip, a 4.08 expected FIP. So there's a lot of problems here with Lugo's profile. So it's tough to trade him right now because of the IL stint. But I think when he comes back, if he has a good start, you might want to flip him. Or the best time to trade a guy is when he's just about to return from the IL and you can get out from under him. That's always when everything is rosy and glorious. So that would be the period where I'm looking to move on from logo. But those numbers are concerning to say the least, Matt. Don't you agree?
I agree wholeheartedly. And that's some sage wisdom there from Uncle Joey. The best time to trade a player is right at their peak. The hope is a thing that we can sell nowadays, and I don't want to exploit anyone, but there you go. We were talking about Seth Lugo, a former New York Met, now a Kansas City Royal. Now let's move to the Cleveland Guardians. They will be getting Shane Bieber back, but let's talk about another pitcher here that you think is a great sell-high candidate.
Yeah, look, Shane Bieber hopefully will make it back, but Tanner Bybee in the meantime has just statistically been bad this year. The ERA is now ballooned to over 4, so it's 4.06. So still tradable, still a young pitcher who's coming off a great season last year, 31 starts, but he has not been the same guy. The strikeouts per 9 last year 9.6, this year 6.1. That is a significant drop off. The walk rate has gone from 2.2 to 3 flat walks per 9. The ERA is at 4. The expected ERA is at 4.15, but the FIP is at 5.65. So there's a lot of red flags here when it comes to Tanner Bybee. And to me, this is another pitcher where I'm just not feeling it right now. Like, I just feel like Tanner Bybee is a guy that you'd have to get out from under and soon, because none of these numbers are good right now. They're all going in the wrong direction. And Bybee might have pitched over his head a little bit last year. Perhaps this is the fatigue of this first full season at the major league level, showing around in year 2. Maybe it's a sophomore slump. I don't know. We could keep making excuses all we want. But, Matt, when you look at the underlying metrics of Lugo and Bybee, they look like time bombs waiting to go off.
Well, Lugo, I've always felt that way about, but Bybee I've been on, and I like that rotation just overall, Gavin Williams and so on and so forth. So I don't know. It depends on what pitching means in your league, but when Joe's talking, Joe's usually right. Joe?
Gavin Williams or Bybee rest of season?
Gavin Williams.
I agree. 2 for 2. Make that trade if you can, everybody. You might be able to pull it off. Maybe not. Maybe throw in Seth Lugo in there too. We come back. We're going to take a look at the waiver wire, the ads you need to make this week in fantasy baseball. Don't go anywhere. More FSD coming at you right after this.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times. But screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST. It's Fantasy Sports Today. Matt and Joe with you here. We're having an absolutely great time, and that is mostly because of you. We thank you very much. At SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. Those are our social media handles. Keep the conversation going all day long. It's going to be great wall-to-wall coverage of the 2 Game 7s that are going to be available to people out there, one in the NBA, one in the NHL. Joey P., the author of the Fantasy Black Book. It comes out in just a couple of weeks, coming out in June for football. Come on in here, Joe. We're going to be talking baseball now because the Fantasy Black Book is doing baseball as well. It's currently out there and available for everyone that's curiously winning their leagues. It kind of goes hand in hand. You're a Black Book guy, you win your leagues. You're not a Black Book guy, you're in 7th place. All right, let's go to the waiver wire here, and let's start with the Dodgers. Joe, you've posited some notions that you have concern about the Dodger rotation and what it looks like. Clayton Kershaw started, I believe, yesterday, went 4 1/3. Wasn't great. He's available in half of the leagues. Would you pick him up?
Yes, but I'm not going to waste a lot of fab on him. We're at a point here with Clayton Kershaw where he has limitations, and I think they're pretty vast. At 37 years old, and I know a lot of people were very excited because some of the numbers were good when it came to some of the rehab starts, but the thing is, if you looked a little deeper, you'd see guys were hitting the ball hard on him all over the place. And that's going to not really translate into some of those stats necessarily in the minor league level, but it is when they get to the major league level. Those guys are not going to miss, right? Those balls they hit are going to go further, and it's going to be different. Like what might be a double there is going to be a home run by a major league hitter. Right. And I think Kershaw is there to kind of hold down the fort when they have all these injuries in this rotation. He pitches for the Dodgers, so there's win potential in there. But if you're thinking you're getting Clayton Kershaw, the ace of yesteryear, it's not happening. If you're getting Clayton Kershaw, the 5-inning pitcher who can, maybe get you into the 6th and maybe keep you competitive, it's possible. In deeper leagues, I can understand it, but I'm not blowing all my free agent budget on 37-year-old Clayton Kershaw. I just don't think it's a wise move at this stage in the game. And look, I think the velocity too is not where it used to be. All those things aren't where they used to be for him. So it's a hard sell for me. When you look at Clayton Kershaw, Matt, though, is it somebody that still intrigues you in the fantasy space?
No. It's an ill-advised expenditure. Again, there's just so much pitching out there. And if you just pay attention, you can stream pitchers. You really can. It's not hard. Just look at who's starting probable pitchers in the next day. If you don't know enough, look at the standings. Get a truer understanding of how these teams have been performing over their last 10 games. Look at the starter. If you really want to dive deep, if it's a left-handed starter, see how his opponent is against lefties. I mean, it's just simple stuff. It just depends on how much you want to put into it. Joe and I put a lot into it, as does everyone here at SportsGrid, so I'm off Clayton Kershaw for the reasons that you outlined, Joe. Here's a pitcher that I am on. I like young pitchers. I like pitchers that are on good teams that have good bullpen, and teams that can truly give me the best opportunity. This young, and I'd say 75% come.
Yeah, I'm going to take it for Matt here. He's frozen for a second. But Logan Henderson rostered in about 25% of leagues right now. If you look at what he did in the minor leagues this year before getting the call now twice for the Milwaukee Brewers, 30 innings pitched, just 18 hits, unhittable, 2.4 ERA, a .96 whip, 12 K per 9, everything you could ask for. He comes to the major league level, and in 2 starts over 11 innings, just 7 hits, a 2.45 ERA, a .8 whip, and he's got 16 strikeouts to just 2 walks. So he has been the same guy. To me, he's undeniable at 23 years old. Quinn Priester does not belong in that rotation. We don't know when Quintana is going to be back. Tobias Myers is out of sorts. So at this point, Logan Henderson is a must-add for me. And I'm thinking that Logan Henderson could be even a potential guy who's going to win some people some leagues if he sticks in this rotation and continues to carry over those AAA numbers, because those AAA numbers that he's carried over have been so good and so dominant that it's going to be a huge boost for that rotation. Jacob Mizorowski, also another guy in that AAA level right now who could make his debut sooner than later for the Milwaukee Brewers. Moises Ballesteros also getting the call up here. Ian Happ going on the IL. Now, this is a catcher, a bigger-bodied guy, not the biggest athlete in terms of like projectability of that nature. But you know what, Matt? I like the round boys who can hit the ball and make contact. John Kruk, there's those guys that just, they're just hitters, guys who could roll out of bed and just hit. And Ballesteros is one of those guys. The question is playing time and how does that all work in there? So Moises Ballesteros, is that a guy that you're potentially looking at adding in some of your leagues? He's not going to be an everyday guy, But in the meantime, he is getting an opportunity here with the Cubs.
Yeah, I like bat to ball. So, remember Astudillo? They called him Tortuga, the turtle. He was a part of the Minnesota Twins for a while. Another guy that came up as a catcher, just had great bat to ball skills. I'm also a Will Smith manager, so sometimes when Will Smith gets respite, I find myself not getting any.
All right, I'm going to take it back over from Matt, though, because I think he's still a little choppy there. We'll get that fixed for you right away. But, when you're looking at catchers too, Drake Baldwin, another guy who's been red hot here for the Atlanta Braves in that strong side, what could end up being a platoon here with Murphy at some point. So we'll keep a look at that one too. Baldwin in 2-catcher leagues has been very solid. Also, Jordan Lawler, we mentioned him, 59% rostered already. So playing 4 times a week is not ideal. I'm just going to keep it out there. So this is a waiver wire where if I'm going to spend my money this week on somebody, as talented as Lawler is, I don't think he's going to play enough for me to really get excited about him, especially in shallow leagues. I wouldn't waste my money. Logan Henderson is the main target for me. That's the guy that I want. That's the guy that I want to make an investment in. I think when you're looking at some of the roster trends going on right now too, we mentioned, about picking up Javier Baez being one of those guys too. Jordan Romano starting to work his way back into that save situation in Philadelphia too. He's been much better over the last week. It might be time to start looking at him because you're seeing Alvarado used in more of these high leverage 8th inning situations and not necessarily just as a closer. So that is problematic for me. You mentioned Sweeney and a couple other guys too, maybe being added to fill the gap left by Corey Seager. So it's kind of a light week for waiver wire, which means to me, what I'm looking to do, Matt, is I'm looking to add the Logan Hendersons, the Mizorowskis, the Matt Shaws. I'm looking ahead to what could be coming forward in the next few weeks of Major League Baseball. To me, save your money on the Kershaws. Look to the guys who might have a little bit more appeal over the last 100 games of the season. When we come back, we're going to take a quick look ahead at what's going on in the week of fantasy sports, what we should be watching for, including Ronald Acuna's return becoming more and more imminent. Could Spencer Strider be next? And who the hell is playing quarterback for the Steelers? All of that will come back on FST.
Still underdogs at home, on the road, and all of these games. It's time for people to start understanding a legitimate team that has a chance not only to win the series against Cleveland, but also maybe even go all the way to the NBA Finals.
I think a lot of the focus has been on why the Cavs have not played particularly well. A lot of that is due to injury, of course, but I think that's taking too much credit away from what the Pacers have done.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
Jason Tatum underwent surgery to repair a torn right Achilles tendon. That is obviously a season-ending injury, and you know that's long rehab. You're talking
That's a year.
That's a year.
I don't wish that on anybody. I don't. I hate that Achilles, knees and ankles. I don't like talking about them. I've said it a million times, but screw the Celtics.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun. I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity. I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this one? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
All right, welcome back into FST. Matt and Joe with you here. Stick around for more great wall-to-wall quality Game 7-day programming. Joey P., what are you looking forward to this week?
Well, it's officially the 18th of May. And according to the depth chart, as I'm looking around at it, Mason Rudolph is still the quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh boy.
Is that what we want to do? I don't know if Aaron Rodgers is that much of an upgrade. Maybe, I guess, theoretically. I think it's kind of funny that the schedule came out and you've got Jets Steelers kicking things off there early in the year. So I think the NFL is kind of pushing for that a little bit. I mean, that would be the ratings boon. Justin Fields against his old team, Aaron Rodgers maybe against his old team. All the vaunted history of both of those guys with those organizations. You could fill a 30 for 30 documentary. And what I mean by that is 30 seconds on each guy in those organizations. That's about all you need to tell that story. But somebody's got to play. It ain't going to be Will Howard. Will Howard, look, he did a good job there. He's a big-bodied kid, right? Ohio State won a national championship. I don't think Will Howard's your week one starter. Maybe he performs really well in OTAs, and maybe in training camp he really picks things up quickly, and at some point you get a look at Will Howard. But what are we doing, Pittsburgh Steelers? You're in a division that's got the Ravens and the Bengals in it, and those two teams look really formidable, especially those offenses. Holy crap. We got to figure things out here. Mason Rudolph is your starting quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and you have aspirations? I don't know, Matt. We're already into May, and this is the time where this is the crucial time where Aaron Rodgers with the Jets was in Egypt, and he was missing out on all this time to hang out with the guys and get to know everybody and get to figure out what they were going to do. And maybe it was doomed for forever, from the get-go. But again, we're going to make that same mistake twice, but now with the Steelers, I don't know.
Listen, I think Steelers coach Mike Tomlin has done more with less. Never count him out, and never count out that organization. That is a storied organization. We go from a storied organization to a relatively new organization or a resurgent organization, the Washington Nationals. What are you looking for?
Well, right now, Dylan Cruz has not performed well. He's hitting under 200, and now we're turning that corner into June soon. And I wonder if maybe he ends up getting sent down as well to kind of get right and figure things out. Jacob Young is not hitting either. So those are two guys right now in the outfield that are just killing that Nats lineup. Robert Hassel's come up to AAA. He's hit well, so maybe you get a Hassel look at some point. He was another big piece in that San Diego Padre trade there when they moved on from Juan Soto. So I still think Dylan Cruz is intriguing. I still think he's an interesting buy low in Dynasty at this point too. But when we were talking about prospects going into this year, to me, James Wood was miles ahead of Dylan Cruz. And I know that a lot of people love Dylan Cruz, and we've had those arguments and conversations, but so far, Dylan Cruz has been an L for the Nats. And also, speaking of L's, we got to get more W's here for the Houston Astros. And that comes around when Yordan Alvarez is healthy. I'd be trying to buy him everywhere if I could. Hopefully, when he comes back, he is healthy because they need him desperately. The void left by Tucker and Bregman absent that lineup has been enormous, maybe too much to bear. But to me, it's all about Alvarez and him coming back into this lineup and getting everybody else around him back and hitting again. But to me, he's a buy low. I know people are afraid. The numbers weren't there, the injury. Matt, are you afraid to buy low on Alvarez?
Oh, no, absolutely not. I've been a Yordan Alvarez fan for quite some time. It's a hand issue, and that concerns me. But once his bat is in that lineup, from a wagering perspective, he's always a guy you can count on. You also want to look at, like I always say, who's hitting in front of him, who's hitting behind him, and how you can take advantage of that. And I just want to thank everybody. We've been giving out the hashtag Matt and Joe and telling you at SportsGrid and at SportsGrid TV, our social media handles. We were on the LeBron and Jordan topic. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. Some of these comments I can't read on the air, but I just want to say that most people out there that follow us and that are new to the accounts here are all in favor of Michael Jordan. They all agree, but a lot of people are giving LeBron his respect, and we will do that as well. Just a quick shout out to everyone out there at SportsGrid, at SportsGrid TV. Thank you so much for being a part of the show and a part of the conversation. Keep it going. Joe?
Yeah, look, I want to keep it going back to the Steelers for a second there because Mike Tomlin has had the benefit of a great roster he inherited from the Bill Cowher era, and then a quarterback that was pretty darn good that made it to a couple Super Bowls and won a few too. Without Ben Roethlisberger, we've seen Mike Tomlin kind of scuffle around. This Steelers team has turned into the Bengals of old, where the Bengals used to be out of the playoffs every single year in that first week, the first week of playoffs. And that's not the same culture in Pittsburgh. You can't have that happen. So this is going to be a fascinating year, maybe a fork in the road for the Steelers and Mike Tomlin, and maybe just time for everybody to get a fresh start. I think it might be time for Steelers and Tomlin to part ways mutually and move on to a new era. It's a great run, no doubt about that. All right, have a great day, everybody. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. From Matt, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids. Enjoy your Sunday.